not something outside of ourselves. We have to validate ourselves that it's the right thing. Waiting for something externally to validate we're doing the right thing. Very dangerous, you're screwed. And the more you want that, the universe and God go, okay, well, we'll hold it back longer until this bitch learns, until this dude learns that you've got to know I'm doing the right thing. You've got to build that faith and trust in yourself that I know this will work. Go watch any documentary of anyone who's done anything great, and you will hear some version of that, of self-belief. And my ego really I wanted that external validation, man, like no one's business. Like I want to be on the, top new podcast shows on Apple. The part where I almost quit right before everything changed. By this point in my journey, I had already poured thousands of hours and dollars and energy and heart into a business that was really not making much money at all. And I wasn't just exhausted, I was questioning everything. Was I delusional for thinking I could pull this off? Did I just waste all this time chasing a dream that clearly isn't working, of me being able to make money doing something that I love and working as little as possible doing it so that I could focus on my well-being and never burn out again? This was the chapter where I wanted to burn it all down. This is also the chapter where everything changed, where the fear got louder than the vision, where I considered walking away from the entire business before anyone really ever saw it. But here's the thing, right after that breakdown came my first real breakthrough. The pieces that weren't working finally fell away. The offer started landing, the audience started growing, and for the first time, the momentum didn't just flicker, it caught on damn fire. In chapter 2, I'm taking you inside the turning point, not the glossy version, the real one that I do my best to give you on here, because sometimes it takes almost quitting to finally build what you've come here to lead. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your relationships, abundance, and everything in between. So, chapter 2, baby, of how I built this business, this brand, ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, from scratch, with zero audience, with zero connections, with mostly zero idea with what I was doing, and almost no tech skills. And I already emphasized the F out of that in chapter 1. And it's okay. If you're on chapter 2 right now, I do think you should probably go in order to give you context. I wanted to do kind of like a short mini series, just like we binge on Netflix. I wanted this to be bingeable. So it might be confusing if you start with chapter 2. But listen, you follow your own rules, okay? You guys are unwell in the mind. So, first order of business, this special series is sponsored by my biggest Black Friday sale of all time. Okay. And it is officially open today. What I'm doing is I am offering a couple things depending on which path you want and which level you're at. My Project Me Posse business and money coaching membership, you get $50 off the first month, which is insane because it's already only $3.33 a day. You're getting over $2,800 in Lux bonuses. And this is not some digital vault of videos that are going to collect dust. This is a living, breathing coaching space designed to get you moving even on your hardest week. Because let me tell you something. If it's not done, the dollars aren't going to come. So we focus on implementation here, not more information on any of the things that I offer to work with me and grow your business. What's the difference? People will ask between doing my Posse membership versus doing one of my programs versus working with me privately. Best way to describe it is there are a lot of ways to get from Los Angeles to Mexico. You can take a boat, you can take a train, you can take a ferry, you can take a commercial airline, you can take a private plane, you can I think I already said a train. I mean, you can take a fucking canoe. I mean, there's lots of jokes that could go with that, but you really could. And they will all get you there eventually. Some of them are more risky because you might not ever end up there because it takes too long and you end up getting frustrated and there's not any money coming in and it doesn't feel good. And that slow path comes at that risk, but it also comes at a lower price point. You want to take the jet, honey. You want a private jet where you are getting everything customized and personalized. That's when you would work with me privately in my exclusive 2 month private business coaching program. I only take 4 private clients at a time. And in celebration for my anniversary of launching that signature private business coaching program, I am opening up for the final time this year. So there's 4 spots in that, and you will be able to apply to that using the application in the show notes here by swiping up. Just want to let you know that application is not available anywhere else. I send it out sometimes in emails, but it's not like a link in bio thing, okay? Like this is only for people who are truly serious about getting their business either started and surging faster, or you have a business and you want to get to the next level faster and you know you're at a point where you need direct guidance. You want everything to be customized to you, your ideal client, and your industry. So we can get there quickly and efficiently in order to start seeing those results. If you're at a spot where you are between zero and $15,000 a month in your business, so similar to what you're hearing here in my story that I'm sharing about starting and building Project Me from scratch, everything you need to do that is inside my Posse membership. It is the only group coaching style membership that there is out there in this sector. It's insane. Weekly live coaching from me, and then I bring in other special guest experts. You have the community of crazies that are in there, other people who think differently, kind of wired like me. You have to trust that if you're attracted to me and my stuff, that the other people that are also attracted to it are such a great fit from all walks of life, all over the world. You guys collaborate in there. We have people that have been in the Posse for many years. Now, we do keep that capped at an intimate size in order for me and integrity to be able to refer to it as a group coaching membership. So you get that feel and experience. So if you go to the Black Friday sale page and it says membership is full, we can't take anyone else at this time. You can go to projectmewithtiffany.com/BF 2025. projectmewithtiffany.com/BF 2025. That link is also in the show notes for you as well. And I would say if you are not sure which one, answer the question of how fast do I want to get there? Because you can't be delusional thinking you can toe dip and you can kind of do it mostly on your own and that you're going to get there and get the results that you want as quickly as you want and as big as you want versus working in a tight-knit container with me like my Profit Pit crew or working with me privately. You've got to be realistic about it. And that is one of the things that I would say set me up for an advantage, even though I really wanted to quit Project Me. I was like, this was so vulnerable and so insane. And I started really gaslighting myself. And I'm going to get into that. But one of the things that saved me is that I was realistic about it. I knew the fantasy marketing that was going on in the space. That's what motivated me to start Project Me. I was infuriated as an entrepreneur already, hearing people say, like, oh, 10K in 30 days. I'm not saying there can't be an anomaly and that happen, but to set people up for that, because then if you don't achieve that, now you're thinking something is wrong with you. And the reality is, why are you looking for such a quick hit on something that is allegedly so important to your heart and so important to your life? Yeah, we all want that instant gratification as human beings, and our egos want that. But if anyone that you know who has a business, and even you can ask people your favorite cafes, restaurants, You can ask a total stranger who you find out has a business, and you ask them, how long did it really take for you to feel really good in your business and have a consistent, steady flow of clients and income? No one is going to tell you a month, and no one's going to tell you fucking 6 months. That's why in my Posse membership, I offer an annual membership plan, and I also offer month to month. The annual, the people who do it, which is our most popular option, are the people who are like, no, I'm going all in on this for a year, which is exactly what my mentality was. I'm going in for a year and I'm dedicating a year, and I want this level of support and expert guidance for a year. And I'm going to have this along the way and have somewhere that I can go and people I can talk to and a place where I can continue to get better at these income generating skills. I created what I wish I had. And that is something that I really want you to look at and think about as we're wrapping up 2025. We're prepping for 2026. What is something you wish that you had? That it would have made it so much easier, would have made the trip smoother. You would have maybe gotten there faster or gotten there with a lot less stress, a lot less pain, a lot less discomfort. You would have felt more supported getting there. That is what you need to create. But sadly, what has gone on, just like in the health industry, of all of these crazy expectations of like, you can have a six pack in 14 days, like that, those were on the covers of all those fitness magazines that I bought. And it really fed exercise addiction for me because I didn't understand why I wasn't able to achieve that, but the girl on the cover of the magazine did. Well, it was on the cover of the magazine to fucking sell magazines and to sell supplements and God knows what else. And that's exactly why people say things that are kind of misleading. And I want you to be delusional to a certain point. Delusion is really helpful. You know, you've got to really believe in yourself to the point where it's delusional, and it's delusional to your ego. It's not that it's actually delusional for you to have the success you want and to be able to monetize your gifts, skills, passions, and talents online, but it will feel delusional to your ego and maybe even some people that you have in your life that are haters, which is not good. And what happened for me when I wanted to quit, I went all in on saying I'll do it for a year. But man, there's that ego in there, that inner critic, that inner bully that was going, oh God, I thought we'd at least be further along by now. I mean, what the hell is going on here? You're watching this person and that person, and I would get into comparisonitis, and I have way more experience and receipts than this person. This person's content isn't even good. Like, why does it look like they're making all this money? Like, what am I missing here? And I'm an award-winning salesperson. It's not like I didn't know how to sell. You know, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Well, if you really peel it back, that is how a lot of us have been marketed to for our entire lives. That's like propaganda that's sold to us, even by the government, even in the school system, even stuff about what is attractive. You know, you want to go down that path. You know, you better have super white teeth and your hair better be, well, it can't be stick straight, but it better not be super, super curly either. You know, and oh, you need to have proportion sizes of having like a booty and boobs, but like a tiny waist, which is like almost no one has that natural body type. And that is what I feel has gone on in the online space and truly the entrepreneurial space in general, which is why I feel so many people finally started like awakening to that and got fed up with that in 2025. And I want to tell you this, it's normal to want to quit. I wanted to quit this year multiple times. It's almost like it's a way to give yourself an escape hatch. Do I ever really quit stuff? I mean, I'll quit if something's really toxic for me, you know, people, places, or things. It's more of I could if I wanted to. And it's a form of expression. So when I was 6 months in, I promised myself a year. I knew I wasn't going to quit and give myself that out. I wasn't going to break that promise to myself. So what promises, and you don't have to have that many. It could be one. Is it one promise? I'm going to do this for one more year and then I'll reassess at a year. You don't have to say quit after a year, but I'm going to reassess after a year. Don't be telling me 3 months. Okay. 3 months goes by too quick. Like I feel like it was just July. So that's not going to cut it. And 6 months isn't going to cut it. I need to hear a year. And then I can hear some of you going, but Tiff, I've been in this. I've been doing this for so many years. This is where we have to get brutally honest with yourself. And starting and growing a business is advanced personal development. All of your shit will come up. Shit you didn't even know you had will come up. It'll rattle your confidence like you've never fucking had it rattled before. It'll mess with your head. It'll make you feel so vulnerable and exposed. It'll take even the people with the most education and credentials and press, and it'll have them spiraling in self-doubt. This happens with our most loved music artists, actors, thought leaders, authors. I've coached thousands and thousands and thousands of people at this point, and I've had some wonderful mentors, all different ages, walks of life, different levels of bank accounts, different industries, and they have all experienced it except for one. One was a sociopath. So one was a and listen, there are very successful entrepreneurs who are sociopaths or narcissists, and they don't have those types of feelings. But for the rest of us, we do, especially if you're wired like me and you're highly sensitive, you're an empath. You can be amazing at what you do, but it all feels like so much because it is so much. It's not that it's hard in terms of how to do the thing and learning the skills. It's mentally so hard. And it's like I couldn't take much more. I was like, God, I'm pouring myself out. And like all these people seeming like it's so much easier. And I'm like, then I started going, well, I don't look like everyone else. And I know I have like a voice I've been bullied for, and I have a unique tone in my voice. And so maybe people aren't into that. And some people don't love, I talk about God, universe, and I swear. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's because I'm fat. I mean, I went down all these different paths. Maybe it's because I'm not friends with this person or in this cool club and I'm not doing this. All those people who put out that content are doing that to make you feel that way so you fucking buy from them. Okay? That's part of the thing. It's like the foam. I was building this when the FOMO shit was really big. But people still do FOMO, but it was a really big lever people were pulling then. And typically FOMO doesn't work on me. That's why I never joined like a sorority in college. Like it actually makes me do the opposite. Like when I was in corporate and everyone is going to lunch. Oh, we're going to lunch. We're going to go have drinks. If I didn't want to, I was like, fuck you. I didn't say that, but like I made up something. I have a doctor's appointment or whatever. Like I'm like that, kind of like I wouldn't say I'm an outcast. Maybe you could call me like the black sheep of entrepreneurship. And also, I'm a type C entrepreneur. C for chill, man. I am not a type A. I'm just not wired that way. And that's why I wanted this brand to be all about being able to make great money doing what you love without sacrificing yourself, your well being, your time for things that you want to do, your energy. That doesn't mean you don't have to work, bitch. Okay. I'm incredibly consistent with how I show up and I have boundaries and for how long I show up. So your first boundary is for you to say, okay, we're doing a reassess here. Is it a year? I don't want you giving me less than a year. I don't care how long you've done it. This is something that you've had on your heart. It's something you still desire. That's because it's your destiny. And I'm just not going to let you give less than a year. Then my next question would be, what do you need to do to set yourself up so that you are the most supported and have quality guidance in order for you to get shit done? Because if you don't get shit done, the dollars aren't going to come, okay? And that's why I have the annual membership option inside the Posse. You get an additional $253 off. It comes out to something ridiculous, like $2.22 a day. Okay. So you can't use that as an excuse. Get in there, projectmewithtiffany.com/BF 2025. You can swipe up for that link and the link to apply for my semi private and private coaching, depending on which type of transportation you want to take from Los Angeles to Mexico. Okay. I know what my preferred transportation is, just saying. And sometimes I like having the option of both. So when I wanted to quit, I want to give you what it looked like. I am owning my part in it. And this is the other thing. Okay. I already had you set the boundary with yourself. Then you have to own your part and how you're feeling. I wanted to quit. What behaviors, what things was I doing at that time that was not contributing to my success, that was not contributing to me feeling abundant, that was not supporting me? And one of them was scroll holing, watching all of these people, studying these people, assessing these people, obsessing over stuff. What am I doing? What are they doing? Blah, 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 blah. Absolutely fucking not. That's a setup for failure. That is a setup to get sidetracked. So when people come to work with me privately, one of the first things I say is, I need to know that you're willing to put your blinders on for these 2 months that you're with me. I cannot have you absorbing all this information from all these different people and going all over the place. Like, I need you to be like lasered in. And that doesn't mean like Tiff's the holy grail and there's no one else to learn from. That's not what I'm saying. But I've got to have you focused in, because you try to implement this one strategy and then you hear something from someone else, and now you're trying to go implement that strategy because that person kind of gave you shiny object, and then this person's like, oh, I do it all with ads and I just have ads making me money all during the night and I never work. And then you start wanting to do ads, and now you have never lasered in and genuinely gone all in on one way and have it truly strategically done and refined. And refinement does not happen, by the way, by launching something one time. Ask any pro athlete, any Olympian. Do you think that Olympic skiers, that shit is refined by them going down the slopes even 100 times? No, that shit is refined by thousands of times. Do you think a tennis player, their serve is refined by doing 100 serves? No, it's probably even tens of thousands of serves. That's why I tell you, you have to give yourself more time. It's not that you can't have incredible things happen in a short period of time and catch that wave sooner. It's that you have to allow yourself enough time to practice and rinse and repeat and refine in order to allow for something to fucking work. Your grandmother's recipe for her Italian, red sauce, that shit did not get refined because she made it one time. There was a pinch of this added, something removed. Maybe there was a mistake that was made, and that something spilled in there. She put too much of one thing and that ended up being the thing. That's how most of these incredible recipes come to place, are because of accidents or because of mishaps and mistakes. You have to allow yourself enough time to have those. That is all part of the success and all part of the growth. So when I look at it, I was scroll holing. So what are you doing that is not contributing to your abundant mindset? That's not contributing to your success. It's actually robbing you. It's distracting you. What are your other distractions? How are you distracting yourself? Are you trying to start 3 businesses at once? Are you trying to do all of this on your own because you're being a cheap ass and you don't want to invest in learning? Are you playing out of fear because you have invested and you've bought other things before, but you feel like it didn't really help you that much, or you didn't complete them, or you didn't really utilize them fully? So now you're punishing yourself and you just have to do it all on your own now? Do you have unwell, meaning toxic delusion going on with expectations? Do you have some insane expectation that by 3 months of you posting every other day, no email list, kind of posting from your ass, mentioning your offer a couple times a week, that your shit's going to be rolling in some cash, that is toxic delusion. Okay. And we have to be straight up with ourselves. And so that is something that I did when I wanted to quit. I was spiraling. I got right with myself with the help of my coach at that time. And I just said, this is a totally different business model. I thought it would be easier. It doesn't feel easier. It feels so hard. It feels so unrewarding. I could just be spending more time and energy continuing to grow my agency or play the stock market and be making way more money with less time. And he said to me, but the reason you wanted to start Project Me is because this was something that you've been stalling on for 10 years. And that's really what you're supposed to be doing. Well, yeah, but if I'm supposed to be doing it, then why is it so fucking hard? Why does it feel so hard? Why does it feel so vulnerable? Why is the universe not throwing me a bone and letting me know by giving me, something that I'm doing the right thing? And he goes, because you know you're doing the right thing. That's your validation, not something outside of ourselves. We have to validate ourselves that it's the right thing. Waiting for something externally to validate we're doing the right thing, very dangerous. You're screwed. And the more you want that, the universe and God go, okay, well, we'll hold it back longer until this bitch learns, until this dude learns that you've got to know I'm doing the right thing. You've got to build that faith and trust in yourself that I know this will work. Go watch any documentary of anyone who's done anything great, and you will hear some version of that, of self-belief. And my ego really I wanted that external validation, man, like no one's business. Like I want to be on the, top new podcast shows on Apple. I want to have people calling me and telling me they want to be a sponsor on my show. I want this. I listen, guys. I didn't even have a fucking email list 6 months in. I didn't have an email list a year in. I'm not joking you. I did not start an email list until this time, 2019. I'm not joking you. So a year and a half in is when I started an email list. There was nothing to opt into. I shouldn't say that. I did have a freebie. This is how little I knew. I think it's really important you know this. I did have it's probably floating around out there. The freebie is actually amazing. I think it's the 5 essentials to being an entrepreneur or something like that. And I think I even used flip charts. I'm dead. I'm not joking. I really think so. I need to look at it. It'll be entertaining. But I know the information's good. I mean, I already had receipts. That wasn't the issue. I know a lot of you already are very talented lawyers, you're accountants, you're therapists, practitioners, you've done the credentials, you've taken the thing, your life experience, you're trauma informed, you've lost the weight, you've gone through grief, you've done the stuff, like you're estheticians, you're in the beauty world, you know your shit. It's just that you don't know the way. And that's exactly where I was at. And I had people give a name and email in order to get the freebie, but there was no email list. It did collect somewhere in the ethers, which I had no idea where that shit went because I had no tech experience. I just knew it went somewhere. So it was somewhere, somewhere behind the scenes. But at least I had an opt-in, man. At least I knew that. And I think I knew that, from probably that one course I took, or I saw other people have them, and I thought, oh, that's nice. I want to give a gift to my audience. I had no idea. And that's okay that I had no idea. You're not supposed to know everything. Now, if there was someone I could have hired, or I could have been in a community that had a live element, which is very important to me. I do appreciate having self-paced stuff, but also having support that was live and in real time. Well, obviously my ass would have had an email list much sooner. And you can imagine, given emails done the right way, which is something I teach inside the Posse membership, they convert at 10%. where social media content converts 1 to 3. Yet, we all get fixated on our followers and our views when the real thing you should be fixated on is your fucking email list. But I didn't know that either because that's not how I built my first business. Okay. So I didn't have that. There were things I didn't have. There was stuff I didn't know, but I didn't know I didn't know them because there was the blind leading the blind. Yes, I had a coach and I even had I had a manifestation coach. Like I had that stuff, but he was more of a personal development in corporate, that kind of coach, nothing in the online space. So I didn't have that proper direction. So I had to sit here and get really honest with myself of, okay, am I really doing everything? Because it feels like I'm trying everything. And I know your ass has said this before. I'm doing all of the things. I'm posting. I'm doing that. I've done this. Tiff, I've even worked with you. I understand that's what it feels like. But the reality is that you are doing behaviors that are sidetracking you and distracting you and depreciating your own value. And then you're also truly not doing everything. It's because you're missing things you need to be doing or more important things to focus on than some of the things you're focusing on. But how would you know? Because this isn't your area of expertise. That's the insanity of it. So when I sat back and went, okay, clearly I'm in deep here and I am committed to a year, but I need to have more help going on. So I shared right in chapter 1 how I started hiring. That's when I brought on help on the social media side. That is also when I brought in like regular tech help. And I guess you could say it was like hiring an executive level VA, like a high level VA, where someone who could, make me an opt-in page for my email list and could make my emails look nice, and someone who could help me, make graphics for different things and have someone doing things like this. So I invested in that. I invested in making sure I got a coach that was already in the online space game, that understood that game so that I could learn it. I didn't think I needed to, I thought I could get away with. That's a better way to say it. Wow, that's fucking some honesty right there. I thought I could get away, and I was trying to get away with spending the least amount of money possible to grow this thing because I was like, well, this is a startup. Like that's what you do in startup. It's like you got to really milk your resources. And I'm not saying not to be mindful, but you will quit if you don't get to where you want to go or have momentum towards what you want to do if you start taking too long. And a lot of reasons why it takes too long is because we're not hiring the necessary support because we're waiting for the money to come in before we hire the support. But we need the support for the money to come in. I'm just as unwell. Think of how crazy that sounds. That's insane. It's like if someone says to me, oh, well, once I have the money, I'll work with you, Tiff. But I'm the one who teaches you how to get the money. It makes no sense. I'm struggling with being able to lose weight, and I feel like I'm doing all the things, and I'm exercising, and I've cut out sugar, and I'm doing all of this stuff, and it's not working. So like, but once I'm down like, 20 more pounds, then I'll hire you, personal trainer, health expert. What? We're unwell. You're not thinking clearly. I understand. I was not thinking clearly. This is what made me almost quit, was me not having proper support, feeling like I'm doing it all alone, trying to do all the things, cobbling it together and wondering why it's not working. And I had to have my ass humbled. And you want to get humbled, you start a business. And my mom's out there and my dad's out there would say, and double down on that and have children. And then you'll be really humbled. It's like, no shit. And triple down on it. You do your work on healing your trauma. And now we're off to the races. And in order for you to be able to get to where you want to get and even make like solid traction, because I know so many of you are going, listen, I'm not looking to go from like zero to millionaire. Like that would be great. But like fuck, like even 5,000 a month, like that. I need to have, like, I need to see that this is working. But that's not surrender. You're surrendering on a contingency plan. You're saying, I'll only keep going as long as you, universe, as long as you, God, you get me 2,000 in sales a month, 5,000 in sales a month, that my videos are popping up. I need to see something happening before I have faith and I believe in myself and I keep going and I further invest in my destiny, in my dream, in my calling. Well, that's why it's not working. I know. I fucking know. Oh, do I know? I even thought, what did I get myself into? Because remember, if you listened to my two-part series about the most insane timeline jump of my life, if you've not, you have to go listen to that, like immediately, an immediate binge. I had to take my first business down by 90% in revenue because I was so burnt out and so sick and so fucked up that I couldn't even function. Meaning I gave away my clients, and these are corporate clients, whale clients, long established clients, but I had to do the right thing and right by them because that I wasn't going to be able to pull it off. So just know that when I also started Project Me, it wasn't as though my agency was super flourishing. I had taken back on clients. Okay. So I did have some additional clients, but it wasn't where it was before. But I also wasn't focused on having it where it was before. I was willing to have it bring in less revenue because I wanted my time, energy, and focus to be on growing Project Me. Because what was I going to do? Wait another 10 years to start this with 10 years more of excuses? No, I wasn't going to do that. So once I had that, so to speak, come to Jesus, I mean, I know I have a lot of Jews who listen to the show. Shout out my Jews. You know how I feel about you. I get emotional anytime I say that. I'm emotional sharing this story, you guys. It's really vulnerable for me to share this. Okay, because it's like there's such a compassion and a love for Tiffany, the Tiffany who fucking, and also it's vulnerable, like, because all these people online make it look like it's just so shiny and perfect, and like they might share a backstory of, now I'm a millionaire but I lived in my car before, and you might, but I'm sharing it like the real accounting, which a lot of people won't share because they're afraid you won't buy from them. And I don't have that fear. I feel as though because I share this level of honesty and transparency and vulnerability, that is why you feel safe and secure and excited and delighted to work with me and be in my membership or work with me privately or in one of my containers. But it is very vulnerable. But I digress. But I need to like finish my point on my Jews. You guys raised me and saved me where I grew up in Chicago and taught me the importance of community and taught me the importance of having rituals and traditions. And that will never be lost on me ever, 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 ever. Okay. So Shabbat Shalom. Take a screenshot and tag me. Share this on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, anywhere, YouTube stories, and let someone know about the show if you love it and you get so much out of it. And an entrepreneur that you know who's been going through it this year. Okay. There's not one entrepreneur I know that isn't going through it in 2025 that hasn't been shooketh to the point of shooketh on steroids. And I feel like this is going to be some episodes that will help hopefully keep you in the game because it normalizes it for you and it makes you realize like you're not alone in it and it's part of it. And I know we want the whole thing to be so easy and so high vibe and so smooth, but there's no such thing as that. There's no such marriage as that. There's no such friendship as that. There's no mother-daughter, father-son relationship like that. There's no building a house from scratch that looks like that. That does not exist. That's the toxic delusion that comes from that like fantasy marketing. Okay. So once I had that full come to Jesus with myself, where I was like, okay, I do see my part, I own my part, and now I need to take contrary action, which is very scary because what I'm going to double down on myself now. I already went down, I oh my God, I almost said I went down on myself. I'm dead. I mean, honestly, if I could, I would at least try it once. I'm so sorry for those of you where this is the first episode you're hearing of mine on this show, but I just want to say welcome. So when I went to double down on myself, I was like, God, it is like gambling. I double down. What if that doesn't work? Now I have twice as much to lose. But if I don't double down, I would be walking away with 6 months. And yeah, I had podcast episodes, I had posts, but like not enough traction for anything much to show for it. So that's going home way too soon. So we take contrary action. And I fucking did it. And I doubled down and I hired the people that I needed to hire, which by the way are all tax write-offs. Okay. And it was around this time of year when I did all of that, which I also learned is a very smart move. If you're going to invest in coaching in a program, anything like that, even if it's in a self-paced course, you want to do it before the end of the year so you can have the tax write-off for that year. This is why even at least in the US, you'll see like a shit ton of car ads in November, December. And I used to always think it was because people bought people cars, I guess, for Christmas. No one's ever bought me a car for Christmas. But I thought that's why. No, it's because of taxes. So it's a true business expense, not courses that have to do like with health stuff, but like when you're working with someone like me, a business growth strategist, right? You are making an investment in your business in order to grow it. That's the whole point. So when I hired this exec VA, when I hired someone to help with social, when I hired a coach to help me in the online business space, that is all with the full intention of growing my business, and they were needed in order to grow my business. Same with even if you're doing ads, right? You spending money on ads for your business is also a tax write-off. It's an expense in your business. So I learned a lot about taxes, by the way, with the online business thing. And I thought I already knew a lot from having a business, but it's a whole different level of benefits, just saying. And I'm not an accountant, and this is not in replacement for an accountant's advice. My lawyer says I have to say things like that. But it's very pleasurable, okay? There's a major advantage. And once I got real with myself and I took contrary action and did the thing, let me tell you, the abundance started flooding in, but not one fucking second sooner. Not with one hire. I'm talking all the hires where I was like, okay, now I've got way more going out than coming in. Now mama's got to come up with something. And that's where my exclusive 2-month private business coaching program was born, because I was having toxic delusions that, my podcast, at least, by the time we're at month 4 or 5, would be a runaway hit and sponsors would be clamoring to be on the show. Well, that is not how this works. The 2 sponsors I did get, I pitched them and they were a great fit. But I did not love that. I didn't want to have to go and keep pitching sponsors for the show and sponsors for posting and stuff like that. Like that's me working as my own agent. And we have a division of my other company that does that with medical practitioners. I just didn't want to do that. That's not why I started this. I started this in order to like help people. And that just seemed like not a good use of my time. So I was like, okay, I've got to put out an offer out there for people to be able to work with me. Remember, I didn't have anything for sale. I had my freebie opt-in that where the emails went into the ethers. You got the opt-in part. The email part I don't even know where those, I don't know where those are. And I still don't know where those are. And I don't fucking need to anymore. So I again went to what is it that I wish that I had when starting my business that would have gotten me to where I needed to go so much faster, were easier, less stressful, for where I had the support. What's the holy grail? And that's why I started with my 2 month private business coaching program. Why did I pick 2 months? I took a look at what I would need to teach any person that came in from any industry, whether you're starting from scratch or you're someone who is already in the high six figures looking to go to seven figures, or you're seven figures wanting to go to eight. I was credible and established with the knowledge to be able to coach any of those levels. How long did I need for an initial period to be able to teach the people the skills and teach them what they needed to know, as long as they implement it? Okay. They have to do their part. I'm not doing it for them. In order for them to see results, in order for them to have transformation. So that's why I did 2 months. I told you I'm going to get into all the details for you guys. Why did I start with private coaching? I didn't have a big audience. I started from zero, plus my nail guy. Okay. Like my ass doesn't even have cousins that I can make follow me. I think at that time, I probably got up to 5,000 or near 5,000, but only on one platform, only on Instagram. I think I invested, it wasn't until 2019 I invested in the videos for YouTube, which is another funny story, which I made no money on. So I had one platform, no email list. And I didn't even know how valuable an email list was at that point. I really didn't, because I didn't grow my other business with an email list. I had no fucking idea, which is hysterical to me now. That's my second highest converting lead generator and my sales generator aside from the podcast. And I was like, okay, being realistic, I know that you need 3% of your audience is ready to buy from you at any given time, right? I know I'm not like doing meetings and presentations like I did in corporate, right? I know that I need to be able to sell something at a higher ticket, because if I went and said, I'm going to sell a $600 course or an $800 course, even a $1,000 course. So I would sell 10, if I sold 10 of those, you're like, oh, that's $10,000 a month. If you only have to sell 10 a month, that's 10,000 in revenue, not in profits. That's that's not minus credit card transaction fees and taxes. I look at everything in profits because I got myself in a lot of sticky water when I was first time focusing on revenue and not profits. That's why that's what we focus on, both in my membership and in working with me privately in my other containers. Even though the revenue numbers sound really nice and really sexy, that's why when I show the receipts, and you can go to the receipts highlight on my Instagram and see, I clearly show you, not screenshots, because a lot of those people fucking make those in Adobe Illustrator, just FYI. I show you the actual video of my account and show you the net. But would it be way more sexy for me to tell you my gross earnings? Absolutely, but it can get you in a lot of trouble, and that's why I don't do that. So I knew that I would it's faster to sell something that's high ticket. And a lot of people don't realize that. You might not know that. I knew that. I knew it from my father. My father was the king of the low ticket. I'm talking 1999 low ticket. And I do remember my father, one of the things that he did teach me in his final couple years of life was that if you want to sell, you can get really wealthy selling to the masses, but you've got to sell at high volumes, like insanely high volumes, which makes sense. And that is a business model in of itself. That's fine. I knew that I didn't have the volume play yet with ProjectME. So I went for the high ticket. I wanted an influx of cash, and I wanted it as quickly as possible in order for me to at least break even with my expenses. Okay. I needed to have that happen. And so therefore that was my priority. I didn't know what to expect. The good news is I didn't have false expectations around it. I had no idea how long it was going to take. I hoped people would buy for me. I thought it'd be stupid for people to not buy for me because I actually know what I'm doing, just not necessarily fully knowing what I'm doing in the online space. But I knew what I was doing in terms of sales and entrepreneurship in general. I put out the offer on the podcast and just like talked about it, like, okay, well, now you can work with me. I mean, I'm sure you can go back to the early episodes and hear it. I personally do not want to go back and hear it. And I know that I shared it. I don't even know if there were Instagram stories then. I don't know if there were. I know I shared it. They had IGTV then, which I was a master of. And I know I shared it in my content. I'm telling you, it was filled up in like, it was insane. It was like in 4 days. I was like, oh my God. I had people going, oh my, finally you offered a way to work with you. Oh, I was starting to wonder how you made your money because you didn't have any offer. And it was like, oh my God. And all of that happened, all of that influx, not until I had to come to Jesus with myself and took the contrary actions, truly recommitted to the year, recommitted to myself, found a self belief that didn't require external validation, spent all the money, doubled down, hired all the people. And then it came in, and I was like, wow. And then I started coaching people. And then what happened, because now I'm working with people intimately, and I noticed a pattern of them asking similar questions. They had similar mindset shit. They had different stuff that came up. And I was like, okay, so I started knowing the internal language, the internal core struggles, core desires of my ideal client. Then I started incorporating all of that into my content, and then my content did better, and then more people followed me. Then I incorporated it into topics for the podcast because I was spending a lot of intimate time with my ideal client. And that's why I say today, your job as a business owner is to be on a consistent, constant quest of intimately knowing your ideal client. You need to know them as well as you know your best friend, and continually build and develop that relationship, and really want to, and really delight in it and feel honored and privileged to do so. Because if you really think about it, it is an honor and a privilege for every single one of you who invest your time in even listening to the show, even though it's free. It's not free to produce, so I would really appreciate a written review, y'all. Okay, you can do that on Apple Podcasts. On Spotify, you can write a comment and tap the 5 stars. You can go subscribe and write a comment over on Project Me TV on YouTube. It really goes a long way. It helps push the show out, and I really appreciate it. Also, when you're sharing it, with people who you think would love the show, that's also really appreciated. And I got to this point where I went, okay, I can only work with so many people privately. I'm so honored to do so. And I love it. And I still love it to this day. But I had to create boundaries around it. I didn't learn the boundaries around it until I took on too many people. And you could say, oh, I'd love to have that problem. Listen, we love an abundance problem over here. I definitely had an abundance. I think it was like 13. And I was exhausted, and then I felt guilty for being exhausted. I'm like, well, you asked for this. And then I gave myself permission, right, that I needed to find another way to be able to help more people with less of my time. Otherwise, now I'm going back for only time for money, which is what burnt me out in my first business. So I didn't want to recreate that again, even though I love so much what I was doing. That's why I only take 4 private clients today, and I don't always take private clients. So I always am gauging my energy and making sure that I have the energy and capacity to do that. And that's where my brain started then going, how can I serve more people? What would I have joined? what would I have participated in? What would have helped me? And I saw so many people having, at this time, it was 2019, free Facebook groups. That was the vibe. Who remembers that? And I was like, absolutely fucking not. My inner teenager was not having it. I didn't want it, and it was because I was already putting out so much high quality free content between my podcasts and the amount of, I was IGTV is basically a form of doing like, short vlogging on YouTube. I mean, some of these videos were like 7 minutes long. I was really already pouring so much in, and it didn't feel right to me. Like, more free content. No, no, no. Like, I have enough high value and personal free content out there for someone to test drive the car and decide if they vibe with me and trust me and want to work with me. I'm not doing more, not happening, not approved. And I went, okay, how can I do something like this in order to reach more people, but it still feel good to me? And that's a key question you probably should write down. Instead of, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to do that. Like when someone says to me, I don't want to do any private coaching. Well, first of all, I never fucking said you had to. Second of all, I want to know why, because I mean, the person who coached me privately was worth $100 million. So it's kind of like I paid 10,000 a month, and he didn't always take people. You had to know someone. And then he took, like, I mean, maybe three people at a time, did some one-off stuff, but that's it. Like, it's kind of sus when someone says that, but I also think people say that because they're already burnt out and that doesn't feel good to them, and they've gone too far with the private coaching. And I understand that you don't want to go too far with it. We need to have multiple income streams in order for you to make more and work less, right? The time for money thing will fuck you, but there's nothing wrong with exchanging time for money. When I go to speak, I'm exchanging time for money, except for the 25% that I do, for charity. And I've spoken at like clients' events and stuff like that to support them. So you'll do time for money. Time for money is fine as long as that money is good, honey. I'm gonna you best believe that I will do time for money. So I went, you know what? Why don't I create a membership? This was not when memberships were a vibe. I was a member. It was a different model, and I'm spacing on her name. So it's not that I'm not trying to shout her out. I think it's Carrie Green. I mean, she means, I think it's Carrie Green. I don't want to say the wrong name of her thing, but she had something called, I think, Female Entrepreneur Association. And I joined that. It was more of a membership where you had a library of tons and tons and tons and tons of digital products and digital offers and templates. I liked being a member of it because it just made me feel official, like Female Entrepreneur Association. I never used it one time. And I'm not dissing on her. I just never used it. My personality is I don't use shit like that. Even if the shit in there is amazing, I'm just not going to use it. And so I knew that I didn't want to create something like that because likely if I didn't use it, my ideal client wouldn't use it either. And therefore, they're not going to get results. And therefore, they're not going to stay as members. And that wouldn't feel good to me. And so that's where the ProjectME Posse was born. It was originally called ProjectME Posse, I think, group coaching membership, because I wanted to be able to coach people in groups and have it be at a price point that no one could say no to. And I decided to do weekly live trainings in there, and it's hosted inside of a private Facebook group. So I monetized a private Facebook group, and I launched that membership. And so then I started getting speaking events because of my podcast gaining popularity, my content reaching more people, because I was intimately in the head of my ideal client. And so I was getting in front of people. Then I caught the wave. And I said this at the end of chapter one. It was like I caught the wave and I rode that motherfucker. You know, when you catch the wave, it's like things are clicking, things are moving, and it's like if you go, Tiff, I've not caught the wave yet. I'm You're going to catch the wave. It's inevitable as long as you keep showing up and you have actual like proper guidance and strategy and you don't mind fuck yourself. You'll catch the wave. You're out with a surfboard in the water long enough and you've done enough lessons. You're going to catch a fucking wave. You're also going to fall 5,000 times, but you're going to catch and ride a wave, and that's what keeps those surfers going when they fall all the time, is because the glorious feeling of riding the wave, and you want that. But the wave, it's not like the waves are amazing all the time. It doesn't work like that. So people were saying to me, my friend Kayla, I remember, she said, I still remember her saying this to me. She goes, she interviewed me on her podcast, and she goes, where did you come from? You came out of nowhere and you're everywhere now. And it's like, and I said, I did come out of nowhere. I started this from zero. I don't know anybody in this space. I still actually don't know anybody in this space aside from people I've interviewed or people who've interviewed me. And, but it really wasn't out of nowhere. And I was honest about that. It wasn't, because look what I'd been doing for months and months and months and months and months. So it wasn't out of nowhere. I set myself up for that. So I was on her show, which at that time I think it was Mommy Millionaire. She had an event she had me speak at. That event that I spoke at was during the LA fires here, and I was evacuated from my house. And when I commit to speak at someone's event, hell or high water, I'm there, unless it's like some crazy thing. And you would think, and of course, she even said, it's okay if you don't come. Like, there's the fires. I'm like, oh no, I'll be there. Listen, I'd evacuate anyway. Might as well evacuate to Newport Beach or wherever the fuck it was. And I showed up. I had a black dress. I did not know. I didn't know that people like got glam and really did it up for these speaking things. Because in the corporate world, you don't really get all glammed up, like super glammed up to do speaking engagements or trainings. It kind of actually would look a little weird if you were too glam. But in this, like at that time, it was like kind of the boss babe craze. These mofos were to the nines, and I didn't know that. And so here comes good old Tiff doing my basic makeup. My hair was not, I don't even know if my hair was even curled. I mean, it was brushed, but I didn't like have like I didn't have lashes on. I had a very basic dress on. And I stood out. And I kind of knew I stood out, but I was also in a form of dissociation because of the fires, which was good. But I remember being in the back and then being even on the side. And I started looking around. I was like, God, these women are like stunning. And their like makeup is so perfect and their hair is done and they're wearing like fancy outfits. And I was like, oh. And I was like, okay. And I was like, all right, all right. I was like, not judging them. I just was like, interesting. Thankfully, I didn't like turn it on myself. And I was like, well, we're here now. And I get on stage and I was brought in to talk about like video marketing because that's what made me take off for all my videos. And me talking on camera, which is why I teach this and why I push you guys to do this, because talking on camera is the second best thing to being with someone in person. But we can't be in front of 200, 400, 1,000, 10,000, a million people a day. It's literally impossible to do that physically. And the power of the internet, the power of social media is we can be in front of thousands and thousands of our ideal client daily where they're seeing your face and it feels like they're talking to you. That's why when you listen to this podcast, it's like, I feel like you're just talking to me. I am just talking to you. It's not a performance. I'm just talking to you. Plus, I don't edit the show, even though I cringe because I notice I've been saying like a lot lately. And now that I pointed it out to you, you'll probably notice. I don't know where that has come from. I would like for that to go away. I would like for that to, let's play a drinking game. I would like for that to go away. So I went on the stage and I don't remember what I said, but I mean, I did my whole, I spoke like how I speak to you guys. I was like, listen, this Polly the influencer shit has got to stop. That must have been I think that was my opening line. Like, it's all bollies and butterflies, and I just bounce on the beach and like have my laptop and type away and make money. And and as long as you look like me, and as long as you're as skinny as me, and you're high vibe as me, you'll make money too. And I was like, that's fraudulent, that's bullshit, and that's not actually what sells. And people just went nuts over that. To me, that was like a normal thing to say. I didn't know that that was not normal in, I guess you could say, the online coaching world. I actually said what people were thinking, but no one would say it. And there were probably a lot of Polly the influencers there that were also even like laughing and maybe subtly cringing. And I mentioned from the stage, just like in a nonchalant way, not in a like salesy way, because I know how to sell. Like, listen, you wanna be able to really bring in the heavy cash no matter what it is you're selling online. You've got to be doing the video marketing. And I've got the formula down now, and I'm teaching that inside of my new membership, my Project Me Posse group coaching membership, weekly live trainings with me, and then I'll bring in other special guest experts. And it's $3.33 a day. I've never raised the price on it, you guys. I'm sure I will be raising the price soon. You'll be grandfathered in for this Black Friday sale. So you want to make sure you get in there. You know where to go. projectmewithtiffany.com/BF sale. You can swipe up and get in there unless the page says it is full. We keep it capped at an intimate size because I can't have 1,000 people in there and in integrity refer to it as a group coaching membership. There'd just be too many people. It'd be too fucking crazy, even though I'd make more money, but I really wouldn't because the people wouldn't stay in it. I want you to stay in it. I want you to get the annual. I make more off the month to month membership. That's why the annual is more popular. You save $250. So I make more off the month to month, but you should do the year, period, end of story, for many reasons. But you can see all the bonuses and everything on that page. So I brought that up from the stage, and I get off the stage. I'm like listening. People, a whole line of people came up to talk to me later. I have people who were there. You know who was fucking there? My best friend today was in that fucking audience. How fucking weird is that? Mm-hmm. Wild. And I don't know. We may have said hi when we were there. OG posse members. And this is my point in saying this. When I first launched my membership, I had 17 people sign up. And I think 7 of them came from that event. And I still have OG members from 2019 that are still in the posse today. That to me is success. That's more success to me than me saying, oh, I have 5,000 people in my membership. Because people who stay, 90% of people, my customers, are repeat customers of mine, meaning they don't just buy one thing from me. They join my mastermind, they come into private coaching, they come in the membership, they buy my courses. That's what you want, because that means the shit you actually do works and serves and connects. So when I first launched that membership, 17 people, some of you are going, 17, you can do the math. 17 times 100, 1,700 gross before credit card transaction and taxes. That's not very much money, is it? Well, no, you have to build things over time. If you have toxic delusion out of the gate and you're like, well, I should have 100. Yeah, I felt I should have 100 too. I felt at least 100 because it's crazy what you're getting for that. Like, I think it's insane that truly it's not like always constantly full. We have waves of it, but I think it's insane because a lot of people think, oh, I've done memberships before and I didn't use it, or I don't want to have information overload. That is not how this is run. This is run where it's all about momentum, getting you in action and keeping you in guided momentum so you actually get results and you accomplish stuff and you are moving the needle regularly because you have that consistent support and expert guidance. That's what that's all about. I've designed it as such. There are other memberships, a majority of them, that are content houses, and they're designed for you to pay for someone's content library. And that's okay too. That's just not my vibe because I would never fucking use it. So it started at 17, and I was like, okay, how can I get, and I'm going to wrap up this chapter with this. Because of course now I'm starting to feel insecure and in my head that I gave you guys too much detail again. And this play by play that I'm giving you of building my business is so fucking boring. And it's the last thing that you want to hear. And so I'm going to wrap it up because now I'm really getting in my head. And you can let me know if you appreciated chapter 2, if you want chapter 3. If you don't, it's okay. I'll be okay. I was creating this because I know I like knowing the tea. If someone really spilled it and gave a play by play, I would watch and listen to every fucking word of it. But I know not everyone's like that. So anyway, I'm done on that soapbox. So I was like, okay, 17, that's a good start. Keep in mind, it's 1 hour a week. So 1 hour a week. I mean, maybe let's say cumulatively 1 hour a week to do the trainings if I'm not having someone else train for me. And then I have to obviously come up with the, curriculum, the plan, what I'm teaching. And then, being active in the Facebook group, although there is no promise that I'm going to like answer all your questions in the group. That doesn't work like that, not for $100 a month. And I'd say 7 hours a week. So I'm getting paid even after taxes. Let's say I'm getting paid $1,100 for 7 hours. That's not that bad. Doing something that I really enjoy, I'll take that as a starting point. But I knew I needed to get in front of more people because if I got in front of more of the right people, I knew that there's no way more people wouldn't join, right? I just needed to get in front of more people. So that's when I was like, well, we need to add another channel here. We can't just do Instagram. We need to add something else. And I didn't want to I didn't want to do the free Facebook group thing, as I said before. And so I was like, okay, so let's go down this YouTube thing. So I did what I did with the podcast, right? I went and hired a videographer, someone who understood YouTube. I went very all in with it because and this is on me. I probably spent $17,000. My whole thing was I'm going to release, I think it was one or two vlogs a week, like one or two videos a week. I bought a course on it that I did take the whole thing of that course. And you know why I took the whole thing? Because the course was fucking $3,000. If the course was $200, I would have stopped after one video, even if it was amazing, to be honest with you. That's why it's important to price your stuff so that people show up and follow through. So I was so excited to launch. I thought it was so catchy, ProjectME TV. Obviously, I use it to this day. These videos are still up for you to reference and fucking laugh at, and it's okay. I leave them up on purpose. And it was newscaster Tiff who did them. I thought that's what I was supposed to do because that's what I saw other people doing. And I needed to show you guys like, hey, I actually like know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. I'm very well regarded in the corporate world. Like I am like a top tier sales trainer, sales expert. I want you to see that. In order for you to see that, I need to have my hair and makeup done like all these bitches at all these speaking things that they do. So I did glam and I had never done glam. Isn't that interesting? I've never done it. And no one's, I mean, I did glam when I was a newscaster, but I like never had glam outside of that. That seemed wild to me. And I'm in LA. And so I had glam. I hired Brendan Bouchard's main video guy because I wanted, to hire the best. And he's excellent. This is not on him. And he came in, professional camera. I spent weeks planning out each video, what I would say. I had made sure my outfits were on brand, bibbity bobbity boo. I was like, this is going to be it. This is going to take it to the next level. And cricket, 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 cricket. Didn't make $1, not one lead, not one nothing. And I spent all of that money. And I was like, well, maybe it just, because these videos can take time. I don't remember how many videos there were. I feel like there was like 13, 17, something like that. I was like, well, maybe they'll bring in like people will sign up for the freebie or something. I still didn't have an email list, I don't think, at this point. So it was like, well, at least they'll get the freebie and they'll get to know me more, or maybe come to the podcast. They did absolutely nothing. And all the keywords were in there, the hashtags were in there, all the proper description of all the YouTube things were on there because I took the fucking course. All the stuff was in there, didn't make any money. And it's not because the course wasn't good and the course didn't work. A lot of people blame it on the coach, on the teacher. And it's not because Brendan Bouchard's guy wasn't good. He was excellent. You know why? Because I was newscaster fucking Tiff. That's why. And that's not what you guys want. You didn't want newscaster Tiff. You could go take a course in a local college and get a professory person, newscaster Tiff type personality. That's boring. That is not what connects. That's not interesting. Even if the information is good, it just feels like you're in school or you're forced to watch a corporate training video. And that's kind of how they read. Not hardcore corporate training video, but like not far off, maybe like a more pleasurable corporate training video. And that's why it didn't work. It was because of me and me wearing a mask, thinking that I had to wear a mask because thinking that Tiffany being true Tiffany, Tiffany who swears, Tiffany who makes up words, Tiffany who forgets what she's saying in the middle of a sentence, Tiffany who wears hoodies most of the time, Tiffany who prefers to wear skincare over makeup. I didn't think that people would buy from that Tiffany at the volume I wanted to sell at because I wanted to make sure you knew as a stranger, like, I know what's up. And it didn't work. And I didn't enjoy it. I was exhausted after doing that. And go watch those videos. You have to go look at them. You'll go, oh my God, that's not you. That wasn't even who I was on the podcast either. I don't know why I felt I had to be this person on video, but that's why I understand when so many of you get so weird and awkward on video and re-record and stuff. There's something about putting something out there in video that's like vulnerable on another level, be it way beyond audio. Because when I started the podcast, people only had audio podcasts. They didn't have the video portion. That wasn't a thing. And obviously now it's unfortunate. I kind of fortunately and unfortunately, you gotta do video on the podcast too. And I know that kind of freaks a lot of people out, but it is what it is. And so then at that point, I was like, oh my God, that didn't work. And I remember I was in my living room and I was wearing a purple robe. I probably could find this video. And I loved being an entrepreneur because I could work from my robe all day. I didn't have to wear like leg prison pantsuits. And I remember going, that's not fucking fun. I don't want to fucking do that. That felt like work. That felt like I was working back at like, NBC, like I had to be poised, polished, perfect, not mince my words, on point. I was like, that's okay once in a while for something, but that didn't feel good to me. It just felt fake. And I felt like my throat felt very constricted because I wasn't fully like speaking my truth and saying what I really wanted to say because it was video. And I caught myself in the mirror. I looked nuts. Like really, I'm way hotter now. Okay. This was not good. You guys need to see reference of this. I will share it in my Instagram stories for you. Or better yet, I will send you an email and I'll put the picture in the email and then you'll go, oh my God, she's right. And there were not good filters back then. There were the filters that like put like a flower crown around your head. There were filters that turned you into an animal. There were no beauty filters then. And if there were beauty filters, they were like so obvious. And I went, you know what? What if I just show up as is and call them bathrobe business sessions and just show the fuck up just as I am right now, off the cuff, have an idea what I'm talking about, but just, talk about that topic, wearing what I'm wearing, not feeling like I have to go put on makeup or have my hair look a certain way or put on a certain outfit in order for me to connect with my people. Because truly anything else, I'm not really interested in it. I don't know if it'll work or people will like it, but I'm going to do it. And that's where I hit another wave, a big motherfucking wave. RIP IGTV wave. I hate that they got rid of IGTV. That was my second highest converter to my podcast, were those videos. And they were not fucking short because people had probably longer attention spans then too. I'm walking around the house just like I am now that you see on my videos, especially on like TikTok. I'm walking around the house. I'm in the car with a matcha. I'm in the car after the gym, except I looked way fucking crazier then. Like I mean insane. I would come on where I mean my skin would look all ruddy. I did not look very attractive at all. And I would just be talking about the stuff. I'd be talking about the things and I would weave in my offers and tell people, you know, where they can learn more from me. And if they really want to get results, like you've got to take action and you've got to get true guidance from someone who knows what the fuck they're doing. And I do. And if you like my style of coaching, then you'll benefit from my containers. And so regardless of what, so then I had two offers. I had private coaching and I had my posse. I didn't have my signature group program selling with soul. I didn't have my make more work less self-paced course. I didn't have all this shit. So I want you to take notice of that. You don't have to have a bunch of different offers. You can have one and really refine one and have proof that you can sell that one. And then you add another one. And then you have proof you're selling that one, you're refining that one. And then you can add another one. It doesn't need to be like I have to have all these different things to make a lot of money. And at that point, I was probably making, I would have to probably look back at old statements, which that sounds like a lot of work. So I'm not going to do that. I mean, I definitely was well past 15,000 a month. Probably 25,000, I would say. Maybe 25,000, 20 to $25,000 a month I was at that point. And that was me being a year and a half years in. No, more like I think a year and a half in. And some months were higher. I'm giving you the average, and I'm also giving you the net, not the revenue. I'm giving you the true profits. So ask yourself this question, or maybe answer it. Answer this question for me. Are you willing to show up every single day, not in a space of burnout or fear, but are you willing to show up every single day and invest your time, energy, and money in learning the income generating skills in order to grow your business if you knew that a year and a half from now, you would for sure, even on a slow month, you would be bringing in $20,000 a month in profits? Would you do that? Would that be worth it to you? And it's only growing from there. Yeah. And if your answer is no, that's okay. Then now you have your answer. Then this is not for you. If your answer is hell yes, sign me up, then swipe up and you have the place of where to go with my different links for my Black Friday, biggest sale I've ever done, and make a move that's going to change your life. Love you.